Are you new to cryptocurrency? Have you heard of Bitcoin and Ethereum before, maybe on the news or just vaguely, but never really got involved? Maybe because it seemed too expensive or seemed like you missed the boat. Well, if you answered yes to any of those questions, this video is specifically geared towards you because I'm going to be showing you today how to obtain this brand new cryptocurrency that is really only at the beginning of its run. It's been the best performing asset of 2020 so far, and it really is the next big thing, in my opinion, after Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, this coin has already gone up 5,000%, even more, which means over a 50x from when it was launched. And the premise behind it is so revolutionary and great that I believe it's going to be around for the long term. So today I want to tell the world about it, and if you're a beginner, if you're new to crypto, and if you're thinking about getting into it for the first time, I'm specifically making this video for you. So feel free to share with all your friends who are also thinking about getting in, because you do not want to miss this next big revolution in the cryptocurrency space. You know, if Bitcoin was phase 1 and Ethereum was phase 2, then this coin, which is called Hexcoin, H-E-X, is going to be the third next greatest dominant player in the cryptocurrency space. So, let's start with the very basics, right? If you're new to Bitcoin, if you're new to Ethereum, what are these things, right? Well, Bitcoin has essentially been around for 10 years, and it's achieved a very high valuation. It's what we like to call digital gold. It's a stable store of value that just kind of sits there, and you can send and receive it, but you can't do that much else with it, right? So Bitcoin is a digital currency that has scarcity because the code makes it so that you can't just copy and paste Bitcoins, and that was really the big revolution behind it. So digital scarcity, digital gold, something of value in the digital realm. And Bitcoin was around for a while until 2014 when Ethereum came around. And Ethereum is basically programmable money. So it's a programmable version of Bitcoin, and it's not technically a currency, or it wasn't designed to be. It was designed to be a platform to build on top of. So you can think of, if Bitcoin's the digital gold, Ethereum is kind of the digital fuel, right? So if Ethereum's the digital fuel, it basically powers, like oil, all of the things that run on top of it. Now, what can you do on top of Ethereum? Well, what people have been doing is essentially making their own cryptocurrencies, and it allows anybody to make any coin they want. However, a coin's not just going to have value just because you created it, right? So these coins have to have very unique value propositions in order to make them valuable and sustainable in the long term. And that is where Hex comes in. So, what is Hex? You might have heard about it, you might have not, but Hex is essentially a coin built on top of Ethereum. And although there are literally thousands of coins built on top of Ethereum, Hex has a differentiated value. And why is that? Well, one of the memes in Ethereum is known as decentralized finance. So the goal of Ethereum as the digital substrate layer, the oil of cryptocurrency, is to take all the products that you would normally have at a bank, such as a checking account, savings account, and CDs, and digitize them and take out the middleman so that you own your own money and there's no middleman that you're paying any fees to. You can take them across borders, it's wireless, it's instantaneous, and it's censorship resistant. So depending on your jurisdiction, you can get around a lot of these basically corrupt control mechanisms depending on what jurisdiction, country, financial area you're at. So, if we've already got checking and savings covered by the store of value, Bitcoin, well then logically the next leap to make here is the digital CD. And that's exactly what Hex is. So CD is the second most popular product at a bank after checking account, and all it really is a pledge to lock up your money to gain a specified amount of interest. Now at a bank, the interest rates are pretty low, usually about 1.6% to maybe 2%, depending on how long you lock them up. But you have to lock up your funds for periods of 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years. With Hex, you can do the same type of thing, although at much better rates, with a much higher ROI potential through a mechanism called staking. Staking is just a simple way of saying you're going to set your coins away for later and pledge not to touch them, and in return, you get an ROI, which is paid out in Hex. So, with Hex, you're locking away your coins to get an ROI that's designated in Hex, not dollars, right? So let's be very clear about that. Hex is not promising you more dollars in the future. It's only promising more Hex, which is generated through the code by the staking mechanism. So you can earn much higher ROI in Hex than you could in a traditional CD. And there's so many other, great things about it that I'll get into later. But that's the essential mechanism behind Hex. So it's a coin that incentivizes buying and holding to gain rewards in the future. And it disincentivizes people selling by what's called emergency end stake penalties. So just like in real life, if you have a CD and you end stake it early, or if you end it before you say you were going to, let's say I have a 5-year CD, but I really need the money now after 1 year, well, I'm going to have to pay a percentage penalty on my money because I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I broke my contract. With Hex, this is all digital, so there's no bankers involved. There's nobody keeping track in large databases. It's all governed by the decentralized Ethereum network and what's called a smart contract, which is really just code that sits on top of the Ethereum network that creates this new coin, and it creates all of the mechanisms that underlie it. So again, staking is the core of Hex, and simply put, if you stake Hex, you'll make more in the future. But you can't unstake it early, otherwise you will have to pay a penalty, depending on how much of the term you've completed. So if you stake for 100 days, but your stake was 1,000 days long, you're probably going to pay a pretty high penalty. If you stake for 1,000 days, but you achieve 900 of those days, and then you emergency end stake early, well, you'll get penalized, but not nearly as much as if you ended your stake after the first 100 days. Make sense? Good. Let's keep going. So at this point, you're probably asking, well, what makes Hex better than any other cryptocurrency? I mean, there are thousands out there, not only on Ethereum, but just in general. So, like I mentioned earlier, anybody can just go ahead and make their own currency on the Ethereum blockchain, right? But why would they have any value? Why should anybody be buying these things? Well, other than the fact that Hex is solving a real-world problem by replacing a traditional bank product, the CD, it's got a lot of other layers on top of that I'll just scratch the surface of, because this slide here does not even cover the full extent of what Hex can do. Number one, it's secure. It's got a level of security that I have not seen in any other cryptocurrency, not even Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is it's been audited by 2 separate companies, and it's really been audited 3 times because one company audited it twice. So it has 2 audits of the code and 1 audit of the economics, which really just means that other companies, third parties, were paid to look at the code and try to find loopholes and poke holes in it and find bugs or defects or anything that could potentially break this product and allow it to be hacked. And of everything they found, they didn't find much. Everything has been fixed. And so you won't even find audits in Bitcoin, which means Bitcoin is vulnerable to a critical failure in the code just as much as any of these other cryptocurrencies. Hex, on the other hand, is less vulnerable because it's had so many people look at it because the creators paid for these audits. Also, there's no middlemen involved, right? With a bank CD, you've got bankers that take a percentage, and with any company, really, that you lend your money to, they're going to want a little cut of off the top. With Hex, you hold your coins directly in your own wallet with your own password, which I will describe how to do later in this video. So no middlemen means nobody taking anything off the top. Nobody can change their mind about the code. Nobody can make up new rules later on because the code is complete and it's finished. It's also borderless, so you can bring it across countries. It's censorship resistant. No matter where you live, all you have to do is remember your password in your head, and you can theoretically bring your money or your Hex wherever you want in the world. It's got a passionate community behind it. The Hex community is like no other I've ever seen. It's organic, grassroots, and it's full of people that legitimately just want to help other people understand what this currency is. Because we all believe that Hex is the next crypto revolution, that will lead to mass adoption due to the way that Hex incentivizes people to buy and hold, and it disincentivizes people to sell. Basically, we're so passionate because Hex incentivizes long-term thinking. Also, Hex is a finished product, so like I said, nobody can really touch or mess with the code at this point. Hex lives on the Ethereum blockchain, and it is immutable. And what that means is it just sits there. It just sits there and it doesn't do anything. A lot of other cryptocurrencies out there will make you a lot of promises, and they'll give you roadmaps and lists of things that they might do, and these laundry lists are really only potential disappointments, right? We've seen in 2017, in the giant bubble, a lot of startups and companies sold these coins with promises of future work and massive potential, and then never really delivered on any of that. 99.9% of projects from 2017 have failed, and they were built on vaporware, empty promises, roadmaps, and just false hope. So with Hex, you don't have to have any of that. You can rest assured that this is a finished product that is not going to change. It's just going to sit there indefinitely. Now you might be thinking, well, where can I buy this and where can I sell it? Hex has more than enough liquidity for the average sized buyer right now, available to you right away. So if you buy it, you can buy it from one of maybe 20 different exchanges, but I'll be describing the best ways to acquire Hex to give you the most bang for your buck. But liquidity also means that you have an area to go sell as well. So staking Hex is not mandatory, and if you buy your Hex and you decide you don't like it later, that's totally fine. You can go sell it with a bunch of liquidity to sell into so that you'll have no problem selling your Hex later if you decide you don't want it anymore. Other coins with low liquidity trap you into buying them with nowhere to potentially sell them. This causes a problem for the user if the user ever changes their mind or realizes that they need funds available right now. And finally, there's a lot of interesting game theory behind Hex. A lot of incentives and bonuses and rewards that the more you dig into the Hex project, the more you discover and the more fascinating and fun it is. Because you find yourself thinking in terms of, how are the other players in the system going to use this? And how can I stake my Hex in a way that will get me the most ROI in Hex in the long term? So all these things make Hex so much different and better than any other cryptocurrency I've seen. Not to mention the founder Richard Hart has been very honest and vocal online, and if you want to follow him, he repeats all the great things about Hex over and over and over again. So just follow Richard Hart on YouTube or Scivive on YouTube. That's SCIVIVE. And if you want to go deep into this coin and how it was made and really just see all the intricacies and see how the sausage was made, you can go follow him on Twitter, YouTube. And if you want to go see some deeper stuff later on, if this is interesting to you, make sure to subscribe to my channel as well, because typically I talk a lot more in depth about this coin, which I love. So step one that you're going to need to do if you want to buy Hex as a complete newbie is you're going to need to buy Ethereum. And if you've never bought Ethereum before, well, you're going to need to go to a US dollar on-ramp. So someplace where you can exchange your dollars for Ethereum. Now there's only a couple of these places out right now, probably 5 or so. You've got Coinbase, you've got the Cash App, and then you've got my two favorite, which are Crypto.com and Monarch Wallet. Now all of these places, let's go take a look at Crypto.com. All of these places allow you to link your bank account or credit card in order to exchange your money for cryptocurrency. So you can see here I'm on the Crypto.com website, and I've got a link to this below, so feel free to use my referral link, and you'll actually get $50 right off the bat for free. You can even use that to buy Ethereum and then transfer it into Hex. So there's a mobile app here. You can download it on the Apple Store and the Google Play Store, and it's going to take about 2 to 3 business days to link your bank account. Now I think you can link a credit card instantly, but I would not advise buying cryptocurrency on credit. Right? You should only invest in what you're willing to lose, right? So don't invest with money you don't have. And take this advice, just buy it with money that you really have in a bank account. However, you will have to apply for the KYC process, which basically just involves you sending in a picture of your ID and a couple of other personal identifying pieces of information about yourself. And you'll be able to get this really sleek app and buy Ethereum immediately, and later withdraw it into your own personal Ethereum wallet. Because I want to make a distinction. When you have this Crypto.com wallet, technically you don't own your own password. Technically this is just like having another bank account. So you want to have your own private keys in cryptocurrency so that you are really in control. And we'll get to that in a minute. So like I said, KYC takes a few days, but you'll be on your way in no time. The app is really intuitive, and I don't have time to go over it now, but I do have a previous video which I will link to right here if you want to learn more about Crypto.com. Next, you're going to have to go to MetaMask.io to transfer your Ethereum from Crypto.com into MetaMask. Now, why do you need all these different pieces of software? Well, MetaMask is your own personal wallet, right? So MetaMask is what you own, and it's really just a simple Chrome extension, guys. So make sure you're going to MetaMask.io. I would always recommend doing this on a desktop computer. Now, I want to be really clear about that. I recommend doing this on a desktop that you only really use for your crypto finances, because hackers are everywhere out there, and they're probably looking at you right now trying to scheme ways to steal your money. With cryptocurrency, scams are everywhere. So be on a desktop computer, but just know that every time you're connected to the internet, you're opening yourself up to vulnerabilities and hackers out there. And I really don't want you to get scammed or lose all your money, because I've seen it happen, and it really sucks. So when you go to MetaMask.io, also make sure that you're going to the right website. If you go to different websites out there, there's phishing websites that can attempt to steal your private keys and your password. And I'll go download MetaMask Wallet just so you can see what it should look like. This is the MetaMask.io website, and if you're using Chrome or Brave or a Chrome-based browser, you'll be able to download it just by clicking this button, and very easily just downloading it as a Chrome extension, which will appear in your browser bar in the upper right-hand corner. Now you can also download it for iOS or Android, but like I said earlier, I recommend just having it on your desktop for Chrome. It makes it a lot easier, and you don't run the risk of losing your phone or, something bad happening to your funds. Now when you have it up in the corner, we'll click on it to open it up. It's going to appear as a little fox icon. So you're going to go here to the Chrome Web Store, and I've already got it installed, but there's going to be a little button right here that says Add to Chrome. Just click that, and the fox icon will appear in the upper right-hand corner of your Chrome browser. So we're going to click on that, and you can see here, this is my Ethereum account that pops up. I can just deposit money, send money, and what I want to do after that is I want to make sure that I add Hex token to this wallet. We're gonna be transferring all of our Ethereum that we bought in Crypto.com to this wallet, and you can do that through the withdraw feature on Crypto.com. But once you're on the MetaMask wallet, in order to start playing around with Hex, click on the 3-dash hamburger icon in the top left corner, and you'll see all these different accounts, right, that I own. So remember how I said on Ethereum anybody can build their own token, and you can add whatever token you'd like to your wallet down here by clicking the Add Token button at the bottom of this list. The way you're going to go about adding the Hex token to this list is you're going to go to etherscan.io. That's etherscan.io. Right? So here is etherscan.io, and this is basically kind of an explorer. It's almost like the Google for Ethereum, right? You can go ahead and search for any token you want. You can search for any transaction. You can search for anybody's address and see how much money they have. It's all public right here. So I'm going to type in Hex into the browser, and you can see there's a couple of different tokens. Do not be confused by these tokens, guys. Hexagon is not Hex. Chex token is not Hex either. you need to scroll down to the 4th token here, because this is the real hex token, and you can tell by that bright pink and yellow logo that we all love so much. So you're going to go here and click on the actual hex token. Be careful not to click on a different one. Although it's not too big of a deal if you do, just know that this is the only real hex token. And right here you're going to see a contract address. This contract address is what you need to copy. So there's a little copy button right to the right of it. Just click on it and it'll be copied to your clipboard. Then we go back up here, click on the Fox icon again. We bring back down our MetaMask wallet, click on the hamburger icon. Again, go down to this add token link, and we just add it. Now you can search for tokens on here, but hex is not going to come up right now. Right? A bunch of other stuff comes up instead. We want to go to the custom token section, and we want to paste that token address right here. So let's hide that token and we'll just do it again really quick. We'll add a token, go to custom token, and paste it right there. Now you'll see these token symbols and decimals will automatically fill. We tap next, and you can see right here I've got a little bit of hex in my balance already, and we're going to add these. So this is my hex wallet that is really just for a demo, so just to play around with. And that is basically how you do it. So now that we've got the hex token added to MetaMask, we want to go back to your Crypto.com wallet where you bought the Ethereum and transfer it into here. You know what? I'll show you guys how to do it. So I've got here up on my phone what the Crypto.com app looks like, and you can see I've got a little over 1 Ethereum sitting in here right now. So when you go to the Crypto.com wallet, all you're going to do is go to your accounts, go to your crypto wallet, and tap on Ethereum. With the Ethereum, what you can do is click the transfer button that you see right here, and then you're going to want to withdraw money into an external wallet. So you can see here that I've got a whole bunch of addresses, but if I want to add a new one, I just click this plus button up in the corner here, and I would copy and paste this MetaMask wallet into this phone, or into this field right here. So you might have to email your address to yourself, and in order to do that, your public address, your public Ethereum address on MetaMask is just obtained by clicking this account thing right here. So once I click this account button, that copies my long string of numbers and letters, which is called your public address, which is basically like your email address, but for cryptocurrency. So you can show this to other people. It's no big deal. This is not your password or anything like that. But you can copy this, maybe email it to yourself, pull it up on your phone, paste it into what I just showed you right there. And you can just paste it there, click continue, send all your Ethereum over, and it'll show up in a matter of about 20 seconds. Now, I want to go over something with you really quick. Now, listen really carefully, because this is probably the most important step of this entire MetaMask process. If you really want to make sure that nobody can hack you and that nobody ever sees your password in cryptocurrency is also known as your private key. And it's also known as your seed phrase. So the most important step here after adding Hexcoin is to back up your seed phrase. You need to write this down on paper and keep it somewhere where it's not connected to the internet at all. You don't want any risk of hackers hacking your private key / seed phrase. And remember, these are synonymous, and I'll explain why. So we're going to do a brand new MetaMask, okay? We're going to set one up from scratch and add it to Chrome. We'll wait for that. You can see immediately after you set it up for the very first time, you'll have this Get Started page. You click through here, you're going to want to click Yes, let's go set this up. Right? Because this is going to be your first time, I'm assuming, setting up a wallet. So instead of importing your password, you're going to create a new one. Now you're going to agree to the terms, and you're going to create a password. This password is not your private key. So in cryptocurrency, your private key is different than your password. So your private key and your seed phrase are synonymous. This password is just to unlock MetaMask as one additional layer of security, but that's not critical. This page right here is the most critical page that you'll ever deal with in cryptocurrency. It is so crucial, and I cannot stress this enough, that you back up these words, because these words are your private key. These words are your seed phrase. And this is what's going to allow you to basically back up your wallet if you ever get a new computer, or if you ever delete MetaMask and want to download it again. Everything is derived from these 12 words. So we'll reveal these 12 words so you can see what they look like. These 12 words essentially are going to hold all your money. So if you start to get used to this and you like doing it, you might even want to divide up your money in between a couple of different wallets, just as an extra safety precaution. But these 12 words are so critical, so make sure you write them down, engrave them on a sheet of metal, put them somewhere that is super safe, whatever that means for you. And one trick I even like to do is I like to write, 6 words down on one piece of paper and maybe 6 words down on another piece of paper, just because, in the case where somebody finds your 6 words, that's only half of your password, right? That's only half of your private key. So, you can even get crazy and put 1 word on each a separate sheet of paper. Some people make up a song or a poem in their head, and it helps them just remember it that way. To be honest, guys, I don't even remember my words. I just write them down, hide them, and forget about it. So everyone's got a very unique perspective on how to keep these safe, but remember, guys, this is your money, and it's your responsibility. So nobody can back you up or insure you on this. What cryptocurrency is all about is taking ownership of your money for yourself, so that nobody else can tell you what to do with it. Which is beautiful, but it also takes, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So after that, MetaMask actually makes you click on the words in the right order to make sure that you wrote them down correctly, right? And then it'll let you create the wallet. Now, I'm not going to write these down here, but I just wanted to go over that for the sake of the video. Alright guys, that was step 2. You get a MetaMask wallet, you back up that seed phrase, make sure you do that part, and then you transfer from Crypto.com or wherever you bought the Ethereum. You're going to transfer all that Ethereum to MetaMask, depending on how much Hex you want to buy. Hex, now Ethereum is really the easiest way to buy Hex. There are other ways, but I know it seems like a lot of steps, especially for a beginner. It is a lot of steps. But trust me, we are going the simplest route right now. Now, if you want to buy Hex, there's 2 main routes you can go about it. Step 3A. So if you want, the first route is called the Adoption Amplifier. The Adoption Amplifier is part of the launch phase of Hex. And this Adoption Amplifier is essentially a website lobby that lasts for 350 days. And we're about halfway through at the time of this video, so there's about 6 months left of the Adoption Amplifier. So this won't be around forever, right? You can find it on go.hex.win. So if you go to go.hex.win, you click on the Transform tab, and you will be able to enter what's called the Adoption Amplifier. Let's go over and walk through that. This is go.hex.win, and this is the Transform page. Now you can see here, every day of the Adoption Amplifier is its own unique day. Now, before every day is up, people put Ethereum into the Ethereum bucket. So there's an Ethereum bucket and there's a Hex bucket. Every day there's about 500 million new Hex being created. But again, this is only for the launch phase. So after the launch phase is over, there won't be any new Hex being created. Hex will become much more scarce. Now the advantage to getting it this way is that if you use my referral link, which is in the description below, you'll get 10% more. The downside is that it's a little bit of a gamble. So you don't know how much Ethereum is going to be in this bucket each day. It is all dependent on how many people are putting in Ethereum that day. So you might have good days and you might have bad days. And sometimes you might get it a little bit cheaper than the market price. Sometimes you might get it a little bit more expensive. But either way, it's usually not too bad of a deal to go through here, oftentimes you actually get a little bit of a better deal. So if you use my referral link or anybody else's referral link, it doesn't have to be mine. You can even use your own referral link. You can go ahead and enter the lobby by clicking this enter button. But first, before that, you need to allow the Hex website to view your account in MetaMask. So we're going to click this connect button here, and that connects our wallet to go.hex.win. So we connect that. You can see here, this basically gives the website read-only access to read how much funds you have and to understand that you're transferring money into here. So this is something that all Ethereum applications do. So it's not like you're giving anything away, you're basically just giving the website read-only access. And you can enter the adoption amplifier for that day with however much Ethereum you want. So I'll put in 0.01 for the day. I'll click enter. And then another box will pop up. It'll load. You'll have to pay a small transaction fee. And your Ethereum will be sitting in there till the end of the day. Now when this day is over, you can see it ends in 4 hours. You'll be able to mint whatever proportion of Ethereum that you put in the Ethereum bucket of Hex for that day. So if only one Ethereum was put into the bucket, that one Ethereum would get all 510 million. If you put in one Ethereum and there were only 2 Ethereum in this bucket, well, you would get 260 million, right? And so on and so forth. So if I put in 0.01 out of 8,964, that's a very small drop in the bucket. So I'm probably only going to get a few thousand Hex, right? That would be my estimate. But we'll check back at the end of the day, and we'll make sure, and we'll pull it out by clicking the very same button. Although at the end of the day, this button is going to turn into an exit button, where you actually exit the lobby and you mint your own coins. So you're doing all the work here, you're creating the coins yourself. This is just the way that Hex is doing their launch phase. So this is how new Hex are created. And after this, the only new Hex that will ever be created will be in the form of staking rewards interest, which is paid out to stakers. So click enter, wait till the end of the adoption amplifier day, and then you click exit. And then the Hex will appear in your Ethereum MetaMask wallet, which you can see I've already got some over here. So you'll have a positive balance in your Hex section of your wallet. Now, a simpler way to go, without any bonuses, is you can buy it on a website called Uniswap. Uniswap is what's called a decentralized exchange in the cryptocurrency community, otherwise known as a DEX. So if you hear the word DEX being thrown around, basically all that is an exchange that's not owned by a central party. So this exchange is literally just another piece of open source code that does all the swapping for you. Now people put up liquidity and they fund pools on both sides. So you've got a bunch of Ethereum on one side and a bunch of Hex on the other side. And if you want to swap your Hex for Ethereum, you can do that. Or if you want to swap your Ethereum for Hex, you can do that at the click of a button. So the URL to get here is hexdex.win. So we're going to go to hexdex.win and we're going to show how to really do this. Alright, this right here is hexdex.win. As you can see, it's very simple, very straightforward. There's really only a few different fields on here. All you can do is swap your coins for other coins. Here you can swap Ethereum for any other cryptocurrency based on Ethereum. There's all these different options here. And you can really swap any Ethereum token for any other Ethereum token. Now, the ones that we care about are Hex and Ethereum itself. Ethereum is kind of the base layer coin. So we're going to take the Ethereum that we just bought from Crypto.com, and we're going to click up here. When you get here, just like on go.hex.win, you're going to have to make sure that you allow access for this website to view your wallet. So you click this button in the top right corner, connect to a wallet, and there's all these different options you could pick, but we're going to use MetaMask because we have MetaMask. And it's going to be initializing, and you simply click connect. It doesn't cost any money. And that shows the website your balance. So you can see I've got 0.4 Ethereum and 40,000 hex. Now, all you got to do is type in however much you want to convert, let's say 0.2, and the website will show you how much hex you get in return, in this case 14,213. Then you click swap. Now, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to buy hex right now, but this is really the fastest and most instantaneous way to buy hex. So you do whatever's right for you, but remember, you don't get the 10% bonus from referral links if you use this. And what I like to do is kind of compare the two to try to get a sense of, what's the better deal for that particular day. As the time gets closer to 0, you can get a better sense of how much you'll end up getting. You can see right here for my 0.01 ETH, I'll get 626 hex, whereas 0.01 ETH today would get me 710 in here. But remember, I didn't use the 10% bonus, so you can add on top of that. That might add up to 686. And if you want to get really tricky, you can actually refer yourself and get a 20% bonus on top of that. So if you go to this refer tab, click copy, and use your own referral link, you'll actually end up getting a 32% bonus because it's 10% on top of 20. But that's a little complicated. Not really such a basic thing. I'm just giving you the two main options of trying to buy hex for the first time. So that's that. Uniswap or Adoption Amplifier. You pick, but it's all just game theory, really, wherever you think you're going to get the best deal. Finally, step 4 is staking hex. So if we want to stake hex, we want to, again, go to go.hex.win. Go.hex.win is kind of the hub where everything happens, right? So that's where you manage all your hex and you manage all your stakes. Now, staking hex is really where the ROI is made. This is why hex is such an awesome and cool thing. If you want to stake your hex, you get to choose how many days you stake it for, and there's all kinds of bonuses that you get as well. So we're back at go.hex.win. We're going to go to the stake tab up here in the corner. Click on that. And you can see here we can enter. I've got 40,000 hex available. Let's stake 1,000 of it. And you can see all these bonuses up here. So 2 of the major bonuses are called longer pays better and bigger pays better. All this really means is that you get more hex depending on how long you stake. And you get more hex depending on how big your stake is. So if I stake 1,000 hex, my bigger pays better bonus will be 6,66666 hearts. Hearts are the smallest unit of a hex, right? So 1 hex is like a billion hearts or something. But if I stake 10,000 hex, all of a sudden my bigger pays better bonus multiplies 10 times. So if I want to stake 40,000, it increases even more. And it goes kind of exponential. Now the longer pays better bonus can be visualized by, if I stake for 1 day, let's go 10 days, I will get a longer pays better bonus of 4.9 hex. Now that's not really that much, right? But if I stake for 100 days, I'll get 54. If I stake for 1,000 days, I'll get 548. So this rises as well as we increase our number of days. So the more days you stake, the more longer pays better bonus you get. The bigger number of hex you stake, the more bigger pays better bonus you get. You can see all your bonuses are calculated for you by the website. Now we won't get into share rate right now. Share rate is something that you can read about if you get really into hex. Share rate is a really cool thing, but it basically just means how much interest you end up getting. And also the big payday bonus is another interesting concept of hex. So on the big payday, big payday is day 353 of the hex project. So big payday happens in hex when the launch phase is over and when the adoption amplifier, remember this, when the adoption amplifier runs out of days. So when this reaches 351 days, that'll be the big payday. Now in big payday, if you are staking your hex, you will get some proportion of a giant pile of hex that's rewarded to the stakers who actually believe in the project. So when you believe in the project, you stake coins for the long term, right? So this rewards people that actually believe long term by paying them out relative to how much they have staked compared to how much other people have staked. So, you can look everything up on hex.win. That's hex.win. If you want to learn all of the real nitty-gritty details about it. But the big payday bonus is a dynamic thing that's always changing because people are always staking and unstaking, and the numbers are always changing around. But without getting too complicated, that's just another bonus on top of the other ones that we've talked about that will pay you back that much more hex if you're staked on big payday. So if we want to stake 1,000 hex for, let's just go 10 days. We'll stake that. And again, we'll get a MetaMask notification, just confirming that we want to do it. And we will confirm, you have to pay a small fee, right? Every time you do a transaction on Ethereum, you have to pay a small fee, which is called gas. And let me just talk about gas really quick. You always want to make sure you have about 0.1 Ethereum in your wallet to pay for gas fees. So a gas fee is basically a transaction fee, which is usually about 50 cents or less than that. Sometimes it's really only 30 cents or 20 cents. But you can essentially think about gas fees as the transaction fees that instead of paying a credit card company, you're paying the miners of Ethereum. So it's pretty cool. It's not really related to what we're talking about here, but you can see I just staked my hex. And we'll refresh the page, and we can start to see my active stake on this website. So here it is. So every stake starts at the end of the official day. Now the day ends when the Adoption Amplifier lobby ends. So let's see. The day ends in 4 hours and 23 minutes. So in 4 hours and 23 minutes, my stake will go from pending to active. And we can see that my start day is day 201. My end day is day 211. That's 10 days later. I've staked a principal value of 1,000 hex, and I have 95 billion shares. My big payday bonus is 0 hex, and that's because I'm not staking during the big payday. Remember, if you want the big payday bonus, you have to be staked on day 353. So, I'm only staked till day 211. That's the incentive to stake longer term and stake past the big payday, right? My interest that I've accrued so far is 0 because it hasn't started yet, and my current value is 1,000. And again, you can end stake whenever you want, but be careful about clicking this button. If you end your stake earlier than 10 days or earlier than your however long you said, you will get penalized proportionally to how long of your term you've served. So somewhere around the halfway mark, you'll at least make your principal back, but you won't make any of your interest. So it'll be like all that for nothing. So really, this works best if you just do what you say you were going to do and stake for the full term, right? So be careful about this end stake button, and really only do it when you're sure you want to end the stake. So I'm not going to do it now. But after 10 days, I would be able to end my stake with no penalty at all, right? And this button would change color, and it would be great. So that's Hex in a nutshell, guys. If you want to learn more about bonuses, you can check them out at hex.win. There's a lot of other really cool game theory that goes on in Hex. So this is the Hex website, right? And really all the stuff I just talked about, you can do it all right here too. You can buy Ethereum right here. You can see the price. You can see how it's just did a crazy run up over the past few months. We've got a how to buy Ethereum video on here as well that Richard Hart made. A little bit different than mine. And we've got some information about Hex, how it's solving a problem. But down here, guys, in the bonuses section, you can read all about the bonuses, because there's a lot that I didn't talk about, right? So there's a referral bonus, right? You can make your own referral link, and whoever you send it to gets a 10% bonus, and you would get a 20% bonus in the adoption amplifier. You've got We Are All Satoshi, late claims, all these things that would make the video about 3 hours long if I tried to explain all this stuff. But this is really the rabbit hole And all these bonuses create what's called speculative stickiness and price positive game theory. So all this stuff prevents the price from going down by making Hex a much more interesting project to hold long term, because there's always something new to look at. And there's always something to think about in terms of how can I maximize my Hex returns over time. So that might have not felt like a beginner's video, but I wanted to give you guys all the information to equip yourself and really know what you're getting yourself into when you're going to get into Hex. Now there's a lot of misinformation out there, so hopefully this video finds you and it finds you before some other bad information does, right? You can also go check out Hexologist on DLive. He does a live stream every day. He's always talking about the most up-to-date Hex statistics and facts and everything. And you've got to know who to really go to. But Richard Hart, Hexologist, and my channel, we're all happy to tell you more about how to stake your Hex. Now, there's plenty of other YouTubers out there that are great. I can't name them all right off the top of my head. But there's also some people out there that will just say stuff that's not true. So be careful. Be careful, guys. Finally, before I go, if you already have Bitcoin and you're not that new to crypto, you can actually claim Hex for free. Now, it's advanced. It's for another video, so I'm not going to talk about it now. But you would go to the claim section here, right? Also, if you want to refer your friends, this is your referral link, right? So you can copy this link and send it to somebody else and refer them. But that's all for now, guys. I am just out of breath. I think Hex is the greatest investment in cryptocurrency that I've seen so far. Since Bitcoin did a 2 million x and Ethereum did a 10,000x since their inception, and many other cryptocurrencies have done like numbers of percentage gains, I think Hex is the next big player that's already made a 50x or a 5,000% return if you'd been holding it from the beginning. But we're only in the launch phase, and I think there's a long way to go. So I'm really hoping that this video can explain a little bit about why I like the token and how to download it for the first time. If you have somebody that you want to get into Hex, share this video with them, and hopefully this will teach them everything they need as a total crypto newbie to get into the whole thing. So as always, guys, keep calm and Hex on.